African Union Communications Early Warning and Intelligence, commonly known as AUC3I, is an intelligence and security organization responsible for providing signals intelligence and information assurance to AU citizens, AU leadership, and AU armed forces. I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. I am responsible for leading infantry soldiers at all levels of command and combined armed forces during missions on the ground. This is today's briefing. On the progress of the special military operation on the 25th of September, 2024. The armed forces of the Russian Federation continue to conduct a special military operation. Units of the North Group of Forces defeated formations of the 21st Mechanized, 57th Motorized Infantry Brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the 36th Marine Brigade and the 113th Territorial Defense Brigade in the areas of the settlements of Bar-Ilo in the Sumy region, Lipsy, Vovchansk and Vovchinsky Khutor in the Kharkiv region. 3 counterattacks by assault groups of the 82nd Airborne Assault Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces were repelled. The enemy lost up to 120 servicemen, 3 tanks, an infantry fighting vehicle, 4 cars, 2 122mm Grad multiple launch rocket system combat vehicles, a 152mm D-20 gun, 5 122mm D-30 howitzers, and a 105mm M101 gun made in the USA. Units of the West Group of Forces occupied more advantageous lines and positions, inflicted losses on the manpower and equipment of the 14th, 28th, 116th Mechanized Brigades of the Ukrainian Armed Forces and the 115th Territorial Defense Brigade in the areas of the settlements of Kupiansk, Bogoslavka, Kolesnikovka, Krybliakovka, and Lozovaya in the Kharkiv region. We repelled 3 counterattacks by assault groups of the 66th Mechanized Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. The enemy's losses amounted to 390 servicemen, 10 vehicles, 2 122mm combat vehicles of the Czech-made Vampire multiple launch rocket system, 2 155mm howitzers M198 made in the USA, a 155mm self-propelled artillery mount Braveheart made in the UK, 2 155mm howitzers M777 made in the US, a 152mm self-propelled artillery mount Akatsiya, a 152mm gun D-20, a 122mm howitzer D-30, a 105mm gun M101 made in the US, and a 105mm gun L119 made in the UK. 2 electronic warfare stations and 4 ammo depots were destroyed. As a result of decisive actions by units of the Southern Group of Troops, the settlements of Ostro and Grigorovka of the Donetsk People's Republic were liberated. The 24th and 54th Mechanized Brigades of the Ukrainian Armed Forces and the 119th Territorial Defense Brigade were defeated in the areas of the settlements of Nikolaivka, Konstantinovka, and Kurakovo in the Donetsk People's Republic. The enemy lost up to 835 troops, 7 vehicles, a British-made 155mm FH-70 howitzer, 2 152mm D-20 guns, a 122mm D-30 howitzer, an Enclave and electronic warfare station, as well as US-made 2 155mm M777 howitzers, a 155mm M114 howitzer, a 105mm M119 gun, and an N/TPQ-50 counter-battery warfare station. 7 ammunition depots were destroyed. Units of the Center Group of Forces continue to advance deep into the enemy's defenses, inflicting losses on the manpower and equipment of the 23rd Mechanized Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the 116th, 118th Territorial Defense Brigades, and the 12th National Guard Brigade in the areas of the settlements of Kleban-Byk, Gornyak, Zorianoy, and Sherbanovka of the Donetsk People's Republic. They repelled 10 counterattacks by assault groups of the 25th Airborne, 59th Motorized Infantry, 68th Jaeger, 100th and 151st Mechanized Brigades of the Ukrainian Armed Forces. The enemy's armed formations suffered losses of up to 580 servicemen, an armored combat vehicle, 4 automobiles, a 152mm self-propelled artillery unit Akatsiya, 4 152mm guns D-20, a 152mm howitzer MSTB, and two 122mm howitzers D-30. Units of the East Group of Forces improved the position along the front line, defeated the formations of the 33rd Mechanized, 58th Motorized Infantry Brigades of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, the 118th Territorial Defense Brigade in the areas of the settlements of Novokranka, Zelenoy Pole, and Zolotaya Niva of the Donetsk People's Republic. 3 counterattacks by assault groups of the 72nd Mechanized Brigade of the Armed Forces of Ukraine and the 110th Territorial Defense Brigade were repelled. The enemy lost up to 135 servicemen, 3 vehicles, a 155mm FH-70 howitzer made in Great Britain and a 155mm Caesar howitzer made in France. Units of the Dnieper Group of Forces inflicted losses on the manpower and equipment of the 128th Airborne Assault Brigade of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, the 35th, 37th Marine Brigades, and the 124th Territorial Defense Brigade in the areas of the settlements of Zarabyanka in the Zaporizhia region, Veselo, Ivanovka in the Kherson region, and the city of Kherson. The Ukrainian Armed Forces lost up to 30 servicemen, 3 vehicles, and 2 152mm howitzers MSTB. An ammunition depot was destroyed. Operational tactical aviation, unmanned aerial vehicles, missile forces, and artillery of the Russian Armed Forces groups inflicted damage on the Ukrainian Armed Forces Radio Communications Center, production workshops, and a warehouse for unmanned aerial vehicles, as well as concentrations of enemy manpower and military equipment in 153 districts. Air defense systems shot down 4 French-made Hammer guided aerial bombs, 14 US-made HIMARS and Czech-made Vampire rockets, as well as 31 aircraft-type unmanned aerial vehicles. Since the beginning of the special military operation, a total of 646 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 32,218 unmanned aerial vehicles, 579 anti-aircraft missile systems, 18,348 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 1,462 multiple launch rocket system combat vehicles, 15,187 field artillery pieces and mortars, and 26,467 special military vehicles have been destroyed. Thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful and informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.